What's up, gang? Erik Ruck here with the supreme leader of Ronix Quality Footwear, Jackson Schoepp.
How we doing?
Doing excellent today. We're talking boots.
We're talking boots.
We're talking boots, and we're talking One Intuition.
One Intuition, man. Like, who could forget? One is synonymous with Ronix, right? Like,
It is the flagship.
Yep, the flagship. First project we worked on, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we dive into a little more history into the design and where the one boot came from and where it sits.
Yeah, so I mean, many years ago, long before my time with this company, that was the first project we'd worked on, to my understanding, is that one boot project, right? Like, we knew that we had the best footwear, we knew that we had the best partners, and we, at one point, like 25% of our early sales were like just for this one boot.
Yeah, it was definitely took the wakeboard world by storm when it first came out. It was pretty crazy that a boot, I mean, it won, I can't remember what year it was, but it won an award at Wake Awards for being like, product of the year. Like it was pretty revolutionary at that time and throughout time since.
Yeah, which I mean, what better person to be repping it than Danny Hart, right? Like, especially back in these days when he was just larger than life, completely the most stylish rider in the industry at that time. So it was cool, man. Like, another perfect pairing.
Yeah, exactly. Which we've talked about Mossy and the RXT being a perfect pairing, but I mean the original perfect pairing.
Yeah.
Is Danny Harf and the one board.
For sure.
And one boot, obviously.
Yes, of course.
So talking about, perfect pairings, Danny Harf and the one, why don't we talk a little bit about the name One and, Danny Harf being the first Ronix rider.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul tells me that there was a lot of contention at the time that even Ronix was decided as the name. And at one point they were going to call the company the One. And then as they drew that out and they saw kind of where they were going, they felt like it was better paired towards a collection. So I think they made the right choice, and I think it's super unique how those live together, where we're not Ronix without the one's not the one without Ronix.
Right, 100%. I mean, and I would have to say that in history and majority of people, you think of Ronix, you think of the One, you think of Danny Harf, you think of Defy, you think of Radar, and those, all those amazing shots of, Danny just representing
for sure
in all forms. You know what I mean?
It was the flagship. Like, even the early days at Lake Ronix, like, it was that boot that like everybody was wearing, everybody was shooting in. Like, Danny was obviously dripping in style with it, and everybody just gravitated towards that. It was like through the kitchen sink at it, right? Like, that was our flagship.
100%. Let's dive into, what was the need and what was the purpose and the idea of the one boot?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like I was just touching on, is like, it was let's throw everything at it and let's make the most supportive, responsive, let's use the best materials, let's tie everything together to make it the best custom fit, and let's worry about the price later, right? So like in those early days, like, they were just experimenting with so many new different things, like removable liners that are separate from the boot, base plates that are separate from the shell, and like the One was like our way to like display all of that cool R&D with like our top flagship boot. So the purpose was just like really capturing all of those high-end wakeboarders and giving them the tools that they need to like best communicate with the board.
100%. I like how you said that, to best communicate. Like, the boot is such an important part of your setup because it really is the communication between you and your board. And it's very easy to have a boot that cuts off that communication. Right. And when you have that, it's just so noticeable. It's the first thing you notice, you know what I mean?
And that's what's so fascinating to me about guys at the pro level, is like their level of detail and what they're able to pick up on between the water, the board, the boot, and then their body. I feel like the boots are a crucial role in that, of like picking up on, oh, did I get the pop off the wake that I needed to be able to go Crow 7, right? Like, so much of that is a split-second decision. So the better that we can communicate with the board underneath us, the better that we can get feedback from it, the better like product that we're putting on the shelf.
Very cool, very cool. Let's You know, we've talked about this before. We'll talk about it again, and
Yeah.
we'll continue to talk about, but let's talk about Intuition liners.
Of course, Intuition, the best foam on the market, man. So obviously tried and true in the snow ski and snowboard world. Our friends up in Vancouver at Intuition have been nice enough to help us develop this perfect liner for the Ronix boots. So,
And obviously, our first boot that had Intuition liner.
yeah, right. Like going all the way back to some of those early boots in 2007, like the original one boot had the original like Intuition liner in it. So I think that's super cool, and it's been fun to evolve with them and like try different technologies. But at the end of the day, like it's just the best heat moldable foam out there, right? Like it's gonna cut it on the break-in time. It's gonna perfectly mimic the shape of your foot when you get it heat molded. And yeah, like I think it's as consistent with the name Ronix as we can be, right? Like they're such a big part of our boots.
100%, 100%. Talking about liners, let's talk about some of the other materials involved in the one boot.
Oh, for sure. So new for 2026, we'll actually be using a new Cordura ballistic nylon fabric. So we've used Cordura in the past, and they've been a great brand partner of us as well. They build like bulletproof nylon fabrics that are textile, so you can move and still move in them, but it is our stiffest traditional boat boot. So it still has a ton of structure. We laminate it with a foam backer, but the idea being that it's going to be super durable. It's going to look really good as they still break in, and then it's going to be there like when you need it for those harder landings, those landings that you need some of that support medial lateral. It's still going to have that structure.
Yeah, it is always nice, and like, you know, the one having that let's see, that would be your outer, would be your lateral.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I have always liked about the one is double ups, and you see it in Danny's riding, and I rode the ones for, I kind of jumped around a little here and there, rode the Prestons, that's a boot from the past.
Oh yeah.
But one thing I always really liked about that lateral support is just, you know, landing in the flats back in those days. I don't feel like landing in the flats. I mean, there's some guys that do it, but it's so much more transitional riding now that it still comes into play. But double ups and anything where you land with a lot of momentum, I feel like it's really nice to be able to have that support where you can like kind of feel like you can lean against it in your landings, and it's just kind of there for that extra support, just a little reinsurance, you know what I'm saying?
For sure. And that's the whole idea, is like we want to give you some structures. You can kind of find those boundaries on your own, right? And like in some cases when you don't have the best landing you've ever had, like finding those supports on the side like will help you kind of get out of some of that stuff.
For sure. Let's talk about chassis.
Yeah, so new chassis for 2026, brand new. So it's going to be the Mainframe 2.0 high cut that will be replacing our brain frame. So obviously tons of good memories on the brain frame, and really trying to take everything that we learned and did so well with the brain frame and migrate that over to a more simplistic design with a rigid connection. So I personally love the full height skeleton of that brain frame, right? So like we talked about board communication, like the full height skeleton really allows even the upper part of your calf to communicate with that.
And just to break it down even more than that, like when we're talking chassis and we're talking, you know, what you were explaining, maybe let's, what is the chassis of the boot realistically?
For sure. Sometimes I live in my little...
Yeah, no. And as you were explaining it, I was thinking to myself, I get that. But then I was just like, I feel like we could jump in, because even like when you started explaining that, I was like trying to picture it. And let's get a little picture.
No, let's do it. So to dumb it down, Ronix basically breaks into 3 different pieces in our boots. We've got our base plate, obviously, that's what's securing the boot to the board. And then we have a fully injection molded skeleton, which is kind of our upper shell, right? And then we have our liner. So it's really those 3 pieces. And that skeleton, what we do so well is that we have the full height skeleton. So it goes up above your ankle, kind of wrapping around the lower part of your leg. And that skeleton is translating all of that energy directly to the base plate. So that's where brain frame really got its fandom, is like it was so good at picking up on all those things. And then on top of that, we've got our feet belt, which is part of our lower enclosure. And that feet belt just wraps so nicely around your ankle. So with this new chassis, we wanted to take some of those learnings from brain frame and just transition them over to this new design that's going to be a bit more simplistic and have more durable connection between that base plate and that skeleton.
Gotcha. Very cool. With, you know, on the tail end of the chassis thing, you talked about the feet belts.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like been something that is kind of a big part of our boots too, and honestly really isn't talked about that often.
Yeah, I think that's our bread and butter, man. So like on all of our Intuition liner boots, we've got the feet belts that wrap around your ankle right in that lower lace section. So me personally, like I like to run the lower part of my boot much tighter than the upper part.
I was just going to say, there's so many riders like even, you know, moving to around, I mean,
Yeah.
Tyler Hyam, like
Right.
for a perfect example, riding the ones, but I'm saying like, he's someone that rides his boots so ridiculously loose, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and like everyone's got their own little take on things. And that's why I love the feet belt, because you're able to like manipulate that in different ways.
Right.
Like if you just want ankle support, like you can do that and still have them loose other places. So that's a great example.
yeah, right on, right on. Let's talk about the size range.
Yeah, man. So we don't hold back. We offer these things in 7 different sizes, right? Like, it'd be easy to only offer them in 5. I'd definitely have a less work to do if that were the case, but we just feel passionate that we want to give you the best boot no matter what size foot you got.
And such a popular boot, we gotta accommodate
100%.
the mass.
Yep, 100%. So all the way from a size 6 to a size 14, like we've got something in there for you.
You know, we were just talking about the flex and talking about feet belts, but let's do a little bit more of a deep dive on the actual, you know, we're talking lateral, we're talking
Yep.
medial.
Oh yeah.
Let's jump into that.
Yeah, so like with this new Cordura ballistic nylon fabric, like this new texture, we're actually laminating it with a stiffer foam to make it more structurally sound from like medial lateral side to side, right? So like compared to our RXT, this lives on the other side of the spectrum where side to side, you're gonna have tons of support. Not to say that you can't poke stuff out, you're just gonna have different boundaries when you go to do those things, right? So, like you said, if you're landing a little deep, you're taking things a little bit bigger, sometimes those can really help you out to be able to get out of the trick by having that support on the left and right side.
Right, but the nice thing is also, you know, having maybe a little bit more lateral support and then having the flex a little bit more medial for pokes and stuff like that, right?
Right. So like having that perfect marriage of a stiffer boot that allows you to be more flexible, right? So these will be an 8 out of 10 flex in our flex rating. And yeah, man, like I'm really stoked with how it came together, just because I feel like in some of our previous models, we kind of found what that boundary is when they get too stiff for a typical boat set or a typical set at the cable. And so I feel like that 8 out of 10 range is right where you want to be for that upper boundary.
Very cool. Very cool. And you know, we talked about the history of it. We talked about flagship Danny Harf, synonymous with everything that Danny Harf has done on the water, you know, changing the game of wakeboarding in so many ways. Let's you know, let's talk about the lineage into the you know, the popularity and the path of the one boot.
Yeah, no, my first Ronix board was that 2010 Ronix one board with like the elephant print.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Too,
Oh, trust me. The red or the white?
Red one.
Oh, I had it. I rode that board. Before the Phoenix came out, that was the board that I was riding for. Like, that was like kind of my introduction to riding Ronix wakeboards.
Super cool.
When I came on board, that was the first board that I rode, and I'll never forget getting that board and the set of white boots that went with that.
Yep.
That was like a full game changer moment for me, like getting that set of product and just being like, this is legit.
Oh, for sure, man. Like so many different cool boards through the years. Like it's so funny that we both have good memories on that one. But like you can just go through the whole line and like how many different colors we used, we used to offer 3 different colors in the one boot alone.
Right.
Like it's been such a flagship for us. Like it's the one. Like super cool.
Very cool.